On episode 78 of Chit Chat, we're going to mostly ignore how awful last year was and talk about some of our favorite experiences of the year. They might be games, movies, TV, or practically anything. We're just going to try to stay positive.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Chit Chat and Happy New Year.
How's it going, everyone? Right. Yeah, it's episode 78. We were just talking off camera. It's been a little bit. We've done some other live streams like this, but they haven't technically been Chit Chats.
That's right.
So this is episode 78.
Any requests from your something?
All right.
Like it didn't even load. I had to refresh.
I think we're about to be back. Yes, we are. Here we go.
Hey.
Yes.
We're back? Do we want to restart and see what we're doing?
Do it.
Just in case.
Yeah, so we're going to rewind here. Welcome back to episode 78, everyone. If you didn't hear any of this, awesome. If you did, just stay put and we'll get through it again. We're going to talk about 2020. Like I said before, it was a junko year, but there's a lot of fun experiences we still had, and we are going to kind of go through those. And not all of them are even about board games, although some of them probably will be about board games. Before we do any of that, though, we do have a winner from the last episode, which did also happen in 2020.
Right. The winner was Marissa. I don't know your last name. It just says Marissa. So, Marissa, you've won ELF. Just email us at manvsmeeple@gmail.com. This week, we're giving away the expansion to Era. This is Medieval Age.
What's going on? It shows I have an excellent connection over here, so I have no idea what's going on.
Well, that was the same thing I had with the other day when we did our live stream on Wednesday.
Give us a thumbs up if you see us.
Yay!
Yeah. I mean, it looks like we're live. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I have a weird thing on mine then that says an error has occurred.
Well, look, I think everyone can see me.
I'm getting
so
thumbs.
It looks
like
YouTube.
Marissa won.
YouTube is having some problems.
We're giving away Era expansion, and now we're going to start the show.
So are we starting the show for sure now?
Hey guys, I can't control YouTube. This is what we got.
That's okay.
We're not going to go back again, but we're doing a show. It's called Chit Chat. You've probably seen it before. We had a winner. I don't know if we're going to announce that again. If we run into another problem, we're probably just going to push on through. And if worst case, we're going to do this show for just the four of us. But tonight we're talking about great experiences in 2020. Jeremy, if you want to take it away, or if you want to name the winner again, you can feel free.
No, I mean, I don't think, are we doing a number?
We all have
five things each, roughly, but I don't know if we're going in any kind of order. We're just talking about things. So I'll start at my best thing, which was the discovery of VR. Board games and video games are fun. And I've said this before on a couple of other shows we did. I always kind of poo-pooed VR. I always thought it was kind of a...
Me too.
Yeah, and it didn't mean much to me. And quite honestly, I get motion sickness. So I get sick from being on boats. I get sick from riding in the backseat of a car. I have to take, what is it called?
Dramamine?
Yeah, Dramamine to be able to even function. And it comes on really quick, so I always thought that I wouldn't be able to enjoy it. However, my wife surprised our family with an Oculus Rift S, which I was super surprised about that she was even wanting to do that, because my wife doesn't typically play any kind of video games at all. And over the past month, I've spent an enormous amount of time playing Oculus. I'm so surprised by how good the games have become and what I missed out on. I was honestly just blown away. And I purchased way too many games and been playing way too much of it.
That sounds so unlike you.
To the point where I've been researching what's the best headset and blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to sell the Rift, and I borrowed a Quest 2 from a neighbor of mine. And what I'm going to do is trade some stuff to him to be able to get this, because he doesn't use it anymore. And it's almost in mint condition. It's brand new. So I have just been loving it. The amount of detail and depth in these games, especially Half-Life Alyx, is incredible. It's like a masterclass in design. It is so good. It ramps up in just the right way. And the immersion level is just unbelievable. It's not just that. There are an enormous amount of puzzle games and games that put you in the atmosphere. There's a game called Moss, which is really, really cool. You're playing an overseer who's controlling a mouse, but it puts you in such a perspective that you're in the game. Like, you're controlling this little mouse to be able to move around, and he's so detailed, and it's just really, really beautiful, the environments. I am completely blown away by VR, and to the point where I haven't touched my PlayStation 5 in a month. Like, I haven't literally touched my PlayStation 5.
Not since Cyberpunk was terrible on the PlayStation 5, pretty much.
Yeah, I got a refund for Cyberpunk on the PlayStation. Nice. So I got my money back.
Well, I'm going to add on to that. This is not mine, but I want to comment on your VR thing. I was with Jeremy, super skeptical until, I don't know, yesterday afternoon when I tried.
And the three of us were telling you
over
how
there, we were filming.
Was.
Jeremy said, dude, you got to put this in, like, for 5 minutes. Just go into Alex and try it. And it was such a bizarre experience. I mean, I've done VR things before in the distant past, but this is really just crazy how it feels. So, silly enough, I bought one last night. So I'm getting mine next week.
Let me just say this now, because I've always been a big VR
fan.
This is true.
I got a Quest back when Quest came out. So if you remember a couple years ago when we went to PAX, we did like a little special about PAX South, and I had played that game Final Assault, which was like a VR RTS that's like a toy box where you actually get to like reach out and like pick up your little RTS units and play with them like they're little army men. So now that you appreciate VR, I think you should actually go back and play that, because I still think to this date it is the most board gamey-ish feeling VR thing I've ever played. Sure, there are VR renditions of board games that have you sitting at a table, but I can sit at a table. I like these VR experiences that do things that traditional board games can't do, like Final Assault, making your pieces actually come to life and move across the board and things like that.
That's the thing, is the tech is so good now that they can start implementing board games into this in a way that Tabletop Simulator and TTS can do. Like, you can physically pick up things, look at both sides of them, put them on a different area, pick up, tokens and place them in different areas. All those things are working in other games. And I think Catan VR is really the only big game right now that's available in VR.
Yeah.
But there's an avenue. I don't know if there's an audience for it, but there's definitely, the tech is there at this point.
Well, we have Werewolf in VR too, which is super popular. People love playing Werewolf in VR. And when you play it, it actually has you sitting at like a campfire with all the other players. And since it's VR, it's a game, you can see your secret role and everything. And there's automatic narration. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Karen, so also about VR.
Yeah, I did. It was a surprise to me as well. And I had kind of just assumed it was a little bit of a gimmick. And then, of course, tried yours out. And even still, I thought, I'll probably play it for a while. It'll be pretty cool. Pick it up every once in a while. Because I don't play a lot of games outside of board games these days, just because of time and energy. But it's really surprised me. I've definitely been playing it almost every day this week since I got it. So I think I got it last weekend. It showed up finally. So it's really cool. I love it. Beat Saber.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to it. Who's next? Ryan, why don't you go?
Yeah, let me get this one out of the way. This is my sappy 2020 talk here. For those who don't know, I have a kid. He just turned 2 years old, and just in 2020, since there was this pandemic, obviously, and since we couldn't really go into work and things were shifting to work from home, I actually feel like I was pretty privileged it happened now, because I got to spend a lot of time with him. And just watching over 2020 as he started to talk for the first time and say things like dad for the first time, and like have the agency to like run up and give you a big hug when you come in the door. Like those are cool moments, and like, that's really sappy, but it's hard for me to look back at any year now, especially to look back at 2020 and not think about just how much of my time was dedicated to this kid and how much time I spent with him, because it does feel like every waking moment really like I'm with him. So it was just, it's neat to see a kid grow up. I never really was around kids too much. So, it happens so fast, and you have to kind of treasure it. I know, David, you had kids. Jeremy, I think your kids were maybe a little, I don't know how old your kids were when you got married.
What's nice for you too, Ryan, is that you're working from home.
Yeah.
that's another thing for me is like I get to be with our two girls all the time, and you get to be with your son all the time. So you're constantly seeing that, which is, I mean, in the world we live in now, that's a total blessing that, you know, COVID's forcing you to be home, but also that you do get to spend that kind of time with him.
Yeah, I think that's the one bright side about everybody being home. I mean, for everybody out there, I'm sure by this point, anyone that has a teenager though is ready to get them out of the house. But at this age, it's still
my
been
teenagers
nice.
My teenagers don't bother me one bit.
That's good.
No, I in all seriousness, it was a very heartwarming story, Ryan. Don't feel like you're being sappy by sharing something
sappy.
like that.
No,
it was very. I was with you up until the point where you referred to him as this kid.
Yeah.
But after that, I wondered a little bit whether or not you were being heartfelt.
I call him kid all the time.
Yeah,
Oliver's a cutie.
I was the same way. Like our girls have been home. Our oldest one is going to school every other day. And I've traditionally worked at home by myself for the last 3 years. So there does come a point where you're like, oh my gosh, I just need 10 minutes of an empty house with no one, for sure. So that's cool, though. Good on you. Kira, do you
have I guess since we're talking about kids, I'll start. I've got a couple of pictures to go with this, too. I had a hard time kind of coming up with this list because it was a really rough year for me and my family. And it's kind of clouded by some losses in the family and things like that. And I realized as I scrolled back through my pictures just to kind of see what I had, I was like, oh, that happened this year. I forgot about that. And one of those things was when my daughter, who is out of the house and, I don't have to deal with the e-learning stuff anymore. She was doing that before COVID anyway. But she came and helped us build the brick wall on the set because she had started doing like home construction work. And she was really excited about it. So we didn't know what we were doing. So we called her up and brought her over to help us out and got that whole pretty brick wall up. She did probably most of the work over the rest of us just because she actually knew what she was doing. But yeah, we had a lot of fun putting up that. And then like right after that, I think David, you were there putting up the rest of the walls on the sides because we had moved those. And, there was a lot of really fun stuff, and I just completely forgot.
That was a big January, February project.
I completely forgot that was this year, right? It feels like it was so long ago at this point. So anyway, that was my related thing.
There's no way we could have done that without her. And if people didn't know, that is a real brick wall. Like that was heavy, and that's mounted in the basement on a fake wall. So
unlike this one behind me.
Don't ruin it.
Looks good.
Don't pull the curtain back, Ryan. Everyone thought that was a real brick wall. Everyone, that's not even Ryan. He's just an AI that we programmed to participate.
Hey, one day that'll happen.
So I don't have anything nearly as heartwarming as that for my first one to talk about. But speaking of early in the year, I don't know if all of you can remember back, because this does seem like forever ago, that we were at Indycon 2020.
Yes, the last convention I was at.
It was, I think it was the last convention all of us were at, because it was right around, I think it was the weekend after Gamma.
Yeah.
And we didn't go to Gamma.
For this very reason.
But we were sponsoring Indycon, and we went to Indycon, and this is really at the very beginning of all that, so that it wasn't, there wasn't any lockdown or anything like that. But we were there. And anyway, just being able to go to that con was fun, and that is a nice memory. But I'm going to share one of my greatest gaming memories of my life, board gaming memories.
I think I was there for this.
And we played, I was really hot on Death May Die, but we had one game there that I played with a friend of ours, Dan, and his brother Nate, Elisha, and I hate it that I don't know this guy's name, and I'm going to say Rando in the most loving way possible, because it was this guy that we didn't know who was just kind of standing beside us as we were setting up, and he just kind of introduced himself and, hey, do you have room for one more? And we were like, yep, come on in. So we had 5 people playing Death May Die. It was, if you're familiar, it was a scenario where you're at this big dance, and there's like a ballroom and all these people dancing, and you have to go through and sift through them and find the cultists. This thing came down to the last round, and literally everyone around the table was dying. And we'd gotten into the situation where we were really playing our weaknesses, those things that fire off when you hit those certain marks. I would go catatonic. So that's a blessing in some cases. And we were really hoping on my last turn that I was going to go catatonic because it would have saved me from being attacked. Of course, I didn't, and I died. And then it came down to the rando guy. He was the last one alive. It literally came down to one single die roll that would determine whether we won the entire scenario or not. And we lost. But it was the most fun I've ever had losing a game in my entire life. Like, he rolled it, and we all it was awesome. It was hilarious. It was probably almost nearly as exciting had we won, So that's why I love that game. It's really why I kind of took to that game so much, is that win or lose, it's just so much fun and so exciting to play. Death May Die is my first wonderful experience.
And that's why cooperative games are so important, I think. Like, they bring you together in a gaming environment like no other games do. Like, they all have those moments that just make people remember them.
Yeah, it was really cool, too, because even though that guy we didn't know, the rest of us know each other pretty well, right?
Right.
And it's just really cool that at a board game convention, you can sit down with someone you don't know, and by the end of it, you're high-fiving them. Unfortunately, we won't be doing that anytime soon, but the fact that we were back in a time where we were like, oh my gosh, it was just so much fun.
Yeah, you're never going to have those moments from like a Euro where you're just standing up and you're like, yeah!
Right.
I don't know, I get
was
pretty
two
excited.
tables away from you playing Kemet when that happened too, David.
Yeah, you were playing, I think, Kemet or something.
Kemet. Yeah, and like the amount of exclamation at the table, it almost felt like we all thought you had just won, but apparently it was not, actually.
No, yeah, it was a blast. It was a really good time.
Cool. So I'm going to move over to TV. I have been a critic of Star Wars for the last trilogy. I really liked The Force Awakens. I thought it was a really good movie by JJ. And then I thought the last two movies were awful. I know people feel different ways about it, but I thought Star Wars took a hit. Rogue One is my favorite movie, but The Mandalorian Season 2 was incredibly satisfying. Almost every episode was better than the last episode before. Yeah. And I am just, I was blown away by, number one, the production values that went into it, but number two, the storytelling and how well they were able to grasp onto Star Wars and really understand what it is. Not, again, I understand people like The Last Jedi and think that's Star Wars. To me, it wasn't. But The Mandalorian was Star Wars. Like, there were so many Star Wars moments in that I was just, I got cold chills. I was just like feeling it the entire time. And where they can go from here, who knows? But I feel like it's finally in the right hands of the right people that love the property and are going to take care of it. So super excited about Mandalorian.
I agree. I was just talking about that the other night. Those episodes were all like 9s and 10s across the board, in my opinion. And one episode in particular, the one with Bill Burr, towards the end, where like that's a perfect example of how that show takes someone who's not even a main character and gives them an unbelievably great story. His story arc through season 2, from the first episode that he was in and then that big one that he was in, was so
giving
cool.
Away
like, I want to see his character
right?
again.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's true. But I do want to see, like, I'd love to see his character pop up again.
You know, what's really...
Oops, I thought they were...
No, I was going to say, the show is so good that the making of series is almost as good as The Mandalorian. And when they put out the one after the season was over, watching that, I had to go back and watch certain episodes again just because I was like, yes, that was so epic. I have to go watch that intro again. And I know everybody probably knows exactly which one the first time we saw something exciting happen that was huge. But like going back and watching those and hearing all the geeky stuff and all these like little things that's like, if you're not a Star Wars fan, you know, or if you didn't know the history of Star Wars, you're not like as super into it as some of us nerds are, you're not going to get some of these references, but it's just going to seem like Star Wars. Whereas other people are going to go, hey, that wasn't ever in Star Wars. That was just a toy somebody made, right? Like those kind of things, those little, the little pieces they threw in there were so cool. And it just made that show really just kind of epic in its own right. And each episode, they say they kind of treat as its own movie. like its own movie. So that's why I think each one of those feels so good and cohesive. Like you said, it could Bill Burr could have easily not been in another episode, but yet he was, and I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah.
And if he pops back up again, that'd be cool. But if he doesn't, it doesn't hurt anything. So anyway.
Great show.
Well, I kind of have that in too. So let's just keep talking, because I was just saying my number for my next one on the list was just how great television has been in 2020, period. We had some great examples of some of the best television shows ever created. I mean, we had season 6 of Schitt's Creek last year, which was phenomenal and swept every Emmy it could have. We had the second season of Succession, which is one of the greatest shows I think HBO has done. And then we had The Mandalorian.
That is a good show. Succession is great.
Yeah, season 5 of The Expanse started at the end of last year, which has just every episode of that has been better than the one before. Shows like The Morning Show and Ted Lasso on Apple TV that were just phenomenal. I mean,
what was the Cthulhu show? That was really good.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Lovecraft Country. Like, it's been a great year for TV, and I think even Watchmen was like very early 2020 that Watchmen came out. I've seen that people definitely have already been talking about shows like Queen's Gambit or Cobra Kai. I mean, like TV, like I didn't even really feel the absence of
that was
movies.
Last year, right?
Well, Haunting of Bly Manor was 2020.
That's right.
I think. I mean, Ryan, I'm right there with you. TV is in a renaissance like nobody's business. Like all these streaming services, I don't know how it's going to shake out for all of them, but I will tell you this. It's going to shake out really well for all of us because they're so competitive with each other and they have to up the ante. I just saw an advertisement the other day where Netflix is basically drawing a line in the sand showing their like big lineup for 2021.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
The heavy hitters that they have involved in that are insane. Like I was really shocked to see the talent that they've got lined up for some of the movies that they're going to be doing. So yeah, between that
and new movie every week or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's crazy.
So we had. I was just going to say The Boys. Actually,
The Boys.
Say that's another one
also
that just kind of took everybody's surprise. I mean, there were several wonderful shows last year, and there's already several wonderful ones coming up now, like WandaVision at midnight tonight. Hey, thanks, that geeky maker.
Oh, is it midnight tonight?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Let me ask you guys a question.
One of our fans threw up a special comment, and I want to make sure I read it to you guys. One of my best experiences of 2020 was watching Man vs. Meatball. You guys are all awesome. Keep up the good work. Thank you, that geeky maker.
Thank you.
That is super sweet.
And everyone else chiming in. Thank you so much. Sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
You just made my next year's list for the best experiences of 2021.
Yeah.
Quick question about experiences. We were talking about them. With this, as you said, renaissance, David, of TV and movies going to home. I know all of us we used to have a movie group that would go to the theaters. Like every big movie, the four of us and our friends would go to the theaters. And we're not doing that, obviously, anymore. But I miss that. But also, I love being able to watch movies at home. Like new movies. It's really nice to watch Wonder Woman 84, even though I didn't like the movie. It's nice watching it on my couch. Like it's something about it. It's just comforting that I don't have to get up. I don't have to spend $20 to get popcorn. Like it's nice. What do you guys think about that?
I'd probably feel different about it for the most part, we all have pretty sizable TVs, and I don't mean just the four of us. Like everyone in the world seems to have a pretty big TV. I have a very large TV with a good sound system. If I didn't have that, if it was like back in the day, I would have an issue. I'd have more of an issue with it. But I can turn my lights off and crank the sound, and in many ways, it's as good, if not better, than going to the theater. What I do miss is, like what you just said, those first opening nights when it's all of us together, and literally we're watching an MCU movie where people in the crowd are cheering for things happening or getting emotional when something sad is happening. I like sharing that with the group that's very passionate about it. So I do miss that.
What we can do now.
Yeah, I mean, nothing can replace
I think we
that.
talked about it. Ryan and I were talking about it yesterday anyway.
Oh.
The Oculus.
Yeah.
Let's just, now we can start watching. Now we all have them. We can watch a movie together. It's really cool. All the stuff you can do on that.
By the way, Kara and I were talking on an Oculus the other night, to her. It was as clear as a phone call.
And my husband was like, no, it's not even. I even turned on a show last night just on Netflix just to see what it was like. And I was like, hey, is this bugging you? And he's like, no, I can barely hear it. And for me, it was like surround sound. It was really, really neat. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. Whose turn is it? Ryan, was that your next?
That was Jeremy and I both kind of had television as our big number 2 or 4, however you want to look at the list.
Kira, go ahead. Let's keep the order so we don't get all screwed up.
This is another really early year thing for me, but my robotics club. So I've been coaching robotics for several years. And this is one of the first, it always goes from like the first semester of the school season into the, beginning of the year. And the beginning of the year of the following year is always like kind of the end of the season. So we're doing competitions and stuff. And this year we actually got ourselves into more than one competition. The team did really, really good. I have had several of the same kids for a couple of years now, and we have so much fun building robots. And the cool thing about these things are that the kids are like it's cooperation or something is I think what they call it, but you're never really competing against each other. So when you compete, you've got like another team from another school helping you clear the course, and you're doing that throughout the competition and like drops you down. So everybody just feels good. Even if you don't rank high, people that do help you rank up a little bit better as you're learning, and they come, and if your robot falls apart, they're like, here's what I would do to fix it. And it's just a really lovely thing. And we ended the season in a really fun way. The kids have caught on to the fact that I like gnomes, and they made me wait the whole last day party we had so that they could do this very special surprise for me where they all dressed up like gnomes. And they presented me with this really cool case for our robots pieces, because I always like carrying around all these different Tupperwares, and I got this like Craftsman tool set that rolls so we can easily get it around to competitions that we didn't end up having because COVID. So I miss them. It's actually, that's a fun memory because we would have started in August, and I haven't done any robotics, and I'm super sad. We'd be competing right now.
I mean, I have to commend you. If people don't know, Kira doesn't have any kids that go to that school. She's no affiliation with teachers there. She just volunteers to do this for them, which is really, really neat. And she loves it. Like I've seen her leave the house here as we're filming and getting super excited about going to do robotics. So it's really cool that you do that for those kids.
That is nice.
Right,
again, I don't want Kira to lead into mine because I just sound like some dude who likes games now. But this one is a little bit about game. It's a lot of bit really about my wife. One of the things that we got into last year was Arkham Horror, the card game. And this is a game, and I promise my whole list is not Cthulhu themed. But
it might be.
This is a game I never thought I'd get into. I know when it came out, Jeremy had got into it a little bit, like kind of briefly. And I remember even literally asking him, he played it, I think, one day with Brady Sadler. And I was sitting there kind of watching, and he's like, yeah, I'm not sure. He goes, I'm not sure this would be your thing. And he was right. Like for the longest time, that is definitely not my thing. Looking at a rule book and then having a learn to play book and then having to like look at that book a lot as you play. But Alicia and I took to the game really well, and we really enjoyed it. And again, almost like Death May Die, it's one of those things where even when we're losing, we're still having fun. Like even when we're failing, rather, we're not so much fans of losing, but when we're failing as we play, it's not so painful. Like there'll be times, and if you've played the game, you'll understand this, where you've done everything you can. You're like, okay, the only thing I can pull out of the bag is the auto fail. That's the only thing I have to avoid. And I'll literally say this out loud. And she's like, you're jinxing yourself right
That's
now.
The rule.
Just shut up. And then, of course, I can't tell you the number of times I've pulled it out. Or if it's like, okay, it's down to auto fail and the -4. That's only 2 tokens. Sure enough, the -4 comes out. And again, when it happens, no one's yelling. We don't get all deflated or anything like that. We just kind of like laugh it off and roll with it. But like I said, if that ultimately leads to a loss, it's not as fun. But we've had a lot of fun playing that. The theme around that is so good. She's loved getting the character deck and actually building it up, which is something like she's certainly not as much of a gamer as I am, but she does enjoy those aspects of it. And like in between scenarios where she's spending her points and she's looking at cards and she's like, oh my God, look at this one. I got to get this one. You know, that sort of stuff is really just a lot of fun for me. And we had fun with it. And we're just now getting back into it. We're like midway through Carcosa, which we'd kind of left off back in November, maybe, or October even. So it had been a while, but we're getting back into it slowly but surely. So
you didn't just get her. You didn't just get her into it. You got me reinvigorated to play it too. And I'll say this too. Like, you're absolutely right. It's not deflating because the game isn't about the outcome. It's about the journey. The stories are so good. And
I've been telling you guys forever.
You just want to play to find out what's going to happen next. And that's what the story's all about.
We do have to sort of tip our hat to Kira. She's been, like Ryan in VR, Kira's been like the advocate for Arkham Horror, the card game, for a very long time. And every time we talk about it now, she's like, I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so.
Because, we played every Tuesday. My friends Byron and AJ, we played every Tuesday for like over 3 years now, and this year we kind of just started playing online through TTS. I know we've all quarantined, we could get together and we're just kind of like, this is a little easier. Can we just keep doing it this way? And AJ's actually getting ready to move, so we'll have to do it this way from going forward. So we got a good practice in last year playing Arkham Forever. So
there you go. That is good. Yeah, one other thing I wanted to mention about it too, I went from a guy who hated having to look up rules constantly, and I don't know about anyone else, but for us, I'm just going to assume that forever and always, I will be constantly looking things up as we play this. There's all these fringe little situations where you're like, well, wait a minute, what's the timing on this? And most of it's answered on BGG, and Kira's been nice enough to invite us into the thread where I can just say, hey, can you answer this? And the guys she plays with, there's like experts. So there's like, it's boom, 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 boom. So I'm like, okay, good. But interestingly enough, we've had fun looking that stuff up because it like presents a mystery that we want to get to the bottom of to figure out exactly how it works. So Arkham Horror.
Yeah, this is my first year playing Arkham Horror as well. I'd never played it.
Really?
I played it on Tabletop Simulator though. But unlike you guys, it just didn't grab me. Like, I enjoyed it, and if somebody asked me to play another campaign, I'd probably say yes. But
you're wrong.
Thanks for bringing us. Thanks for bringing us down, man.
I wish I was. I wish I could get into it as much, but I don't. Maybe
like Ryan sitting off the corner playing Monster Train. I feel like his hands are playing Monster Train while he's
playing Monster Train right now. Listen, I should have put that was more of a 2020. I've been since I discovered Monster Train, I've been playing it almost nonstop.
Right. The thing you guys said about Arkham
that's very addictive,
though, is that you don't always. It's not necessarily losing. It's if you do poorly, it impacts your next scenario, which then means that things could be really bad for you. Or in one case, Jeremy did really good in a scenario, which made his next scenario terrible. And I love.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with that scenario. If it's the one I'm thinking of, because I was like, oh, this is awesome, and then the next one slapped us right in the face.
Yep. I love it.
That's Arkham.
I'm in one right now where we're in like the future. We're not in normal Arkham Horror times, and it's very bizarre. It's super cool. All right, Jeremy.
All right, Jeremy, back to you.
Yeah, I mean, David and I had a conversation before 2020 about how we wanted to kind of handle the channel and getting back to the things that we enjoyed doing. And one of those is playing the games that we like. Like, oftentimes as you run a business, especially one of these, you have to pay the bills on top of it. So you're covering things that, will help do that. So I really myself put emphasis on just playing games that I enjoyed. And it's opened up my mind to playing things that I typically wouldn't play either. I've said this before, like I've always been just a Euro guy, and I don't want to be the Euro guy. I want to be the guy that plays a lot of different games and finds enjoyment from a lot of different things. And that happened this year with several games. Darwin's Journey was one of them.
Jeremy.
Grand Austria Hotel.
Wrong.
Also a Euro.
Two things that come to mind. One was the creation of the live stream that Kira and I do called Comp and Co-op, where we're covering just games that we have already played and know we love. But also, one memory that comes back was when Ryan, Kira, and I played Scooby-Doo. We had no idea what that game was about. And we were all experiencing that for the first time. And I got to say, we all walked away really impressed from that game. We all had fun.
Which Scooby-Doo was it?
The Escape from
Mystery Manor.
Yeah, there were two Scooby-Doo games. There was the Betrayal Scooby-Doo, and then there was the Escape Room Scooby-Doo. We're talking about the Escape Room one.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that just kind of opening up yourself to playing games that you may traditionally not think you would enjoy may change your mind about things. And it's not just Scooby-Doo. There was a wealth of games that I played this year that I typically would never play in the past that I really, really enjoyed. So
that's awesome.
It's me.
I'm glad you're branching out.
Trying. I mean, I always love Euro games for sure, but I've given a lot of games like Time Stories just a bad rap because one experience threw me off, and then just requires me to play it again and be more open to them. So, cool.
All right,
Ryan.
So my next highlight of the year was my gaming group, and I'll talk a little bit about this because right when COVID started, we made the decision not to go back to the game store even before the game store had to close because of mandates, and we started playing games on Tabletop Simulator. And then we all kind of got switched to work from home status, and we all kind of were working from home and quarantining. So about halfway through the year, we kind of made the decision that we were going to start meeting again as long as everyone, stayed home and didn't go anywhere. And we'd be able to play games together. And one of the first things we did was we played through Betrayal Legacy. And I've been saying since we played Betrayal Legacy, the first time, I've been saying I want to go through and play it again and see how it was different. And it was definitely different. I mean, it was a completely different experience the second time through. That being said, that's like 24 games of Betrayal Legacy now. I would never play it again. Like, it's now I feel like I've seen enough. Like, I've seen everything it has to offer. I got to see how cool it turned out, how differently it turned out. Saw some things that I never saw the first time. Saw some things that I did see the first time that played out differently, which was interesting. So it was really cool to have this perspective because this is the first time I played through a legacy game or even a campaign game twice to see how it varied. And just that gaming group has been able to keep me sane. It's been nice having other people that are also work from home that I know I can count on, who are also quarantining, that I can trust to actually meet and play board games. Maybe one day we will actually be able to go back to the game store, but that kind of feels like it might be still a ways away. So this group is kind of keeping me sane right now, so that's nice.
Cool. Kira.
Oh, new things. Let's see. I really did. I went kind of deep. I was like, what are some memories? Like, as I went through my pictures, I was like, wow, I completely forgot about this one too. This is one of the weirdest and coolest, most memorable things that happened to me last year. And that's when I was driving back from your house, Jeremy, because we lived fairly close. I'm driving back, and behind me, I see it, well, as I'm coming up to the gas station on 37 146th Street, this car pulls out, this tiny little car. And I'm like, what's that hanging its head out of the back window? That's too big to be a dog. And it's like a llama or something. And I'm not kidding. This is a real thing. This really, really happened. Okay? I'm not joking.
Do you have a picture of this? Because I've tuned into our YouTube channel just to see
I'm
this.
actually trying to bring up the picture now. Sorry, give me just 1 second. There it is.
No. I've never heard this story.
By the way,
I haven't heard this story either.
You win.
It's the weirdest thing.
It's like
well, I got one more picture. You can see a little bit better.
What is that?
It's like it looks like a donkey.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Like I don't know, but there's another. That's my rear view mirror. Thankfully, it's like a camera on the back of my car, so the picture was super clear. But yeah, just.
Oh, it does look a little like a llama or an alpaca
I know. I asked
now with
Jeremy
the ear
Howard
sticking
if
up
he
like
knew
that.
at the time what it was, and I've forgotten because it's been so long. But that's a memorable experience for me. I've never seen anything like that, and that was something that happened last year.
Gosh, it's hilarious.
Wow.
I've never seen anything
it's
like that.
almost hard to believe it's even real.
Only in Indiana.
What circumstances had to lead up to that?
It was just the weirdest thing. Cool, I guess, that they have a pet llama.
That is the weirdest thing. Yeah, now I have to follow that. Thanks. First, it's like tear-jerking stories about children not doing robots, and now it's hilarious stories about a llama in what looks like a smart car. Okay, So mine is almost as hilarious. The last 2 years, Alicia and I have been able to get together with Rob and Christina, who we became friends with a couple years ago from Blue Peg, Pink Peg. And we had both couples had been quarantining for some time. And since there were no cons at all, we decided we were going to still do that this year. So we got together. We're going to do it in April. And of course, April was like disaster time for COVID. So we canceled. And then as things progressed, we were like, hey, maybe late July because nothing's happening and Gen Con, everything's been canceled. So we had it, and we called it Cabin Con in the past because we always got this cabin in Kentucky. That cabin was gone, and miraculously, we found this loft in this smallish town in Kentucky that is amazing. And I'm never going to tell anyone about it because I don't want anyone renting it because it is a fantastic, fantastic loft through Airbnb. But anyway, we did that in July. We were up to our normal shenanigans, wearing not the kind of masks you think of. We wear all totally different kinds of masks. If Kira's putting the pictures up, you'll probably see me in a cow mask or something like that. And then we did it again, actually, in early December. So we were able to do that with them twice, same location for like 4 or so days. And the second time we played just a ton of games. Like the first time we did 2, and we played a little Mage Knight, experienced that. Rob and I literally played through a full game of Mage Knight, just the tutorial game, mind you, but on the second time. And we played Bonfire and Praga. I mean, we were just playing games all day long for 4 days, and it was just a blast. So that was, like Ryan, you said your gaming group was able to help keep you sane. The fact that we were able to get out and visit with our friends like that a couple times was really, really nice. So definitely a good memory.
All right, this is my last one.
I thought we had 5.
I'll talk about video games.
You should have 2 more.
We have 5.
I have 2 more? Am I going to my list weird?
Come up with a llama story.
No, okay. Well, here's another one then. I don't know where I am. I'll have to look through my list again. Anyway, video games. I already mentioned the Oculus, but I'll talk about just video games in general. They're a great escape for anyone who suffers from any kind of anxiety or depression, which are 2 things I've always suffered from, but they help me kind of escape. 2 games really stuck out. Assassin's Creed games have always kind of just let me like lose myself in a world, and Odyssey was amazing. Valhalla was also just beyond amazing. So I devoured that game, like literally beat it in 2 or 3 weeks.
And you scoured it. Like,
yeah.
I looked at the map, folks, and there was not a dot left to explore on that thing. He scoured that thing.
Yeah, it's amazing. But the other game I'll talk about, which someone who suffers from either of those 2 things should not play, and that's The Last of Us 2. And I know there was controversy around that game, but talk about craft. Like, the craftsmanship in that game and the ability to exude emotion was littered throughout. Like, the people who made that game, you can obviously see it was a labor of love. They thought obviously about the story. They weren't afraid to deviate from the things that you would think naturally would happen in a story like that. And they took chances on a lot of different things. Some of them they did really well. Some of them the public didn't like as much. But again, that's a game I devoured just because the story was so well told and it made you feel sick at times. Like there were moments in there where you just felt utter depression. Like it's just, why am I doing this to progress the story? But it's so well done. So if you like story-driven games and you can kind of suffer those things that go on with those characters, Last of Us 2 is amazing. Like an absolute
it is the closest thing. You know, people the debate about whether video games are art. That is Exhibit 1 for sure, because that thing is the closest thing to artistically done like a movie as any video game I've played.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me of that, because that was I remember clearly the night that game released at midnight, you and I texting each other at like 3 a.m. because neither one of us had gone to bed yet because we were still up playing Last of Us. Because like I was only gonna play a little bit, but once I started, it just grips you in a way that you're like, oh my gosh. It's like you said, watching a great show. Like you watch all 8 episodes in a row. That's how I felt. I didn't want to stop. I didn't want to look away. It was a great experience.
Cool.
Yeah, but my next one is not actually video games. really thought about putting that away, putting that on this list, but this is something that's a little more board game related. About a year ago, early January of 2020, I went to a board game retreat that was hosted by some friends of mine in Canada. I thought really hard about whether or not I was going to go. I mean, there was a little bit of an expense. I had a 1-year-old at home, and it's a long drive up into Canada to go to this. But ultimately, I wanted to go. I wanted to play games. And man, am I glad I did. If I had known then what I know now, I wouldn't have even hesitated. I would have gone in a heartbeat, because it was 4 days of just playing games and really nothing else. From the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, it was at this like retreat center where they provided all your meals. So you really didn't even have to break your game to just go grab food and come back and play. And it was just a lot of fun. I met a lot of great people, had a lot of great times, a lot of great laughs. And who would have known that that I wasn't going to see these people again for over a year, maybe even closer to 2 years for some of these people. So really, like, I'm incredibly grateful that happened. I'm grateful that I got to be invited and got to go. And like, that ended up being one of the highlights of 2020 for me. What I thought was going to be one of many ended up kind of being the one. So yeah, I didn't really take any pictures or have any pictures to post of it, but we just had a blast, and I got to carpool with a bunch of really good friends, and it ended up being a highlight of 2020. I would have kicked myself if I hadn't gone after every other convention basically was canceled in 2020. So.
Oh, is it me?
I don't know. Now it's sad.
Yeah.
I'll
bring it back up. This will be fun. So, something happened.
This one better suck.
It's kids and lizards. So, my niece and nephew, who live about 3 doors down from Jeremy, which makes it fun whenever I go to the studio, I get to see them. They're running around always looking for the blonde heads. They have become obsessed with one of our lizards, Mr. Pancakes, probably because he's called Mr. Pancakes. But whenever I see them, like, I'll be driving away and they'll be getting off the school bus, and I'll stop and roll down my window and just, "Hi, Aunt Kira, how are you? Where's Mr. Pancakes?" It's always about Mr. Pancakes when I see them. And so one of the times that I got to see my niece and nephew this year was on my birthday. My nephew and I shared the same birthday. We were doing like a social distancing cul-de-sac birthday with the family. And my niece Eva came up to me and she said, "I need you to tell Mr. Pancakes that I love him." And she went on this whole rant. And I said, "Well, do you want to make a little video for him?" Because I'm thinking, oh, we got to catch this for later. This is gold. So she made him a little video, and she made me promise that I was going to play it for him. And so I did. And then I sent her a picture of me playing the video for Mr. Pancakes. And it's just been this ongoing hilarious thing between her and her brother, where they're just constantly asking me about Mr. Pancakes. And it's just a really fun thing. I mean, even at Christmas, we were doing the Zoom call, Christmas thing, and they're doing their thing. They're excited. They're opening their gifts. And then one of them gets really close to the camera and goes, "Hey, where's Mr. Pancakes?" So it's a never ending thing, and it just makes me laugh. So that's mine.
So many heartwarming stories. We never talk about any of these sorts of things with each other, really. We're sharing this with you guys.
Because I don't want you to know, David. I'm just kidding.
Just the three of you talk about it without me? Okay,
Right.
I get it. No, that's fine. So my next one, I was going to talk about one thing. I'm going to talk about a few things, and it's really kind of under the umbrella of all my kids. I've got 2 boys, Ben and Spencer. One's in college, one's a junior in high school, and then Alicia has a daughter and a son, Danny and Aiden, as well. And the one gaming-related one was I was able to play. We play games with Aiden quite a bit, Alicia and I. But back in the fall, in fact, it was right around October, I had taken Beyond the Sun up to Alicia's, and she didn't play for whatever reason, so it was just me and Aiden in the morning, and we got it out. And Aiden oftentimes will, when Alicia's playing, I'm teaching the game, and because I'm not directly looking right into his eyes, he often tunes out and doesn't pay any attention, and then we start the game, and he has no idea what he's doing. But this time, because it was just me and him, he was intently, he had nothing else to focus on. So he was listening, he was paying attention. So this is like one of the first games where he was good to go from turn 1. And then by the end of the game, like he took the moment to say, just to pause and say, I really like this game. Like it was this sort of experience where he, kids don't often pause and say, hey, by the way, I want to tell you how much I like this thing that we just did. So that was a really nice experience. Now, unfortunately, I haven't played Beyond the Sun since then, but it was a lot of fun. So we'll probably play it again and maybe get Alicia to play with us. Some other things that happened not so gaming related, and this is my chance to be a little bit sappy. With Danny, she's also a junior in high school. These are my stepkids, Danny and Aiden. And we live apart, so it's a little of a unique experience. But in the Christmas time, one of the last times I was up there, they were leaving to go back to their dads, and Danny just spontaneously gave me a hug. It was one of the first times she'd done something like that. That was really nice. And then on the home front here with my two boys, Spencer and I have been basically living here all year together. He's the one that's still in high school. And like Jeremy was saying earlier, it's just been really nice. I mean, now he is a teenage boy, so he's often just in his bedroom on his computer, but it's still been really nice. And I've pulled him out every once in a while to play some board games at the table. And then finally, my oldest, and this is a memory, technically not exactly in 2020, but it was really close. He went with some of his college roommates, again, who'd all been sort of in the same bubble, to Colorado with one of their families to ski. And he'd never skied, and he was texting me, and he was a little nervous about it. He was texting me that morning. They all had some experience. They all accidentally went up a mountain that was like a black diamond. And if you've never been skiing, that's like the hard slope.
Scary.
Intimidating.
Yeah. And I remember my first time snow skiing way back in the day, and this is just down in Bloomington. This was his first time skiing, and it was in Colorado on a black diamond. And he didn't go down, and he's probably going to kill me for sharing this, but he's texting me. He's like, I'm not having a good time. We did this by accident. I'm waiting at the ski lift to ask if I can go back down on the ski lift, which if you've ever been skiing, one of the most humiliating things you could do. So I spent that day and that morning kind of via text coaching him and giving some tips and stuff like that. And the very next day it was awesome because he got down the green slopes a few times, went down a blue slope. And then by the second day, he was absolutely having a blast. And it was a really nice experience to sort of virtually share that with him. So those are my heartstrings stories.
Aww. All right.
That was a little bit of a emotional one.
Jeremy, what's close us out with?
Yeah, I guess I'll end with Ether Fields. I know this has been.
Is it the rule book that you like so much?
No, I mean it's been polarizing. When Shut Up and Sit Down comes out and says it's an awful game, people obviously pay attention. They have a huge user base, but if anything, it's taught me this: like, it doesn't matter if I say a game sucks or if they say a game sucks. If it brings you joy, then it brings you joy. And Etherfields is one of those games that I played this year that I instantly fell in love with. Like, I love the sense of discovery in that game, and there's always discovery. I've had more fun with that game than just about any other game I've played. And I recognize that it's got problems, but it still brings me joy to sit down and play through that. And I'm surprised because it's the one game from Awakened Realms, or one of the very few games that I didn't back. Because when I initially played it, I thought it was just okay, but I fell in love with the game. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that play the games you like. Listen to what we have to say, and if we like it, you may like the games we have, but also make those judgments for yourself, because you may, again, be blocking yourself out from things that you don't think you would typically enjoy. And that's a game that if I had not played it and just listened to other people, I would have been missing out on something great, I think. So
that is a nice sentiment, man. And like I would say you've all probably heard the term "don't yuck on someone else's yum."
Yep.
Well, it's also important to remember when someone does yuck on your yum, screw them. Just enjoy your yum, enjoy what you enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, sure. That's the thing about being a content creator. If I ever say that a game is good or that I enjoy a game, I want you as the audience to say, well, I know what kind of games Ryan likes, or I know what kind of games Jeremy likes. And if Jeremy likes it or Ryan likes it, I might like it. But sometimes it's as simple as somebody posting, I didn't like this game. And then it's just repeated verbatim that the game is bad. And then people that didn't even watch the review have now heard third-handedly that this game is bad, so they're just saying, "Oh, I heard this game is bad," and really, what it means is somebody didn't have a good experience with it. And there are games that I know Jeremy, like we just talked about Arkham. You guys have all had great experiences with it, and when I played it, I was just kind of lukewarm. Maybe if I played it with you guys and I had been in that particular game, I would have come out of it on fire and like ready to play more. I think game experiences just change, like the group that you're playing with, the mood you're in when you play it, how prepared you are, how well everyone at the table knows the rules. All of these things can really affect a play. I think that's important what you said, that like don't just take anything we say as like the law, but it's definitely a good idea to do your own research too, right?
Yeah,
Agreed.
for sure.
That's
Agreed. And that's typically why I watch content. Like if I'm watching content for whoever it is, it's more to get an idea of what the game is about than whether or not they like it.
Yeah, I mean, I purposely stayed away from board game stuff because I, for some reason, had that in my head that that's what we were doing today. So none of mine are really board game related. But I mean, yeah, playing Etherfields has been great, and just in general playing co-op games, which I've never really, other than like not exit, but unlock games, I really wasn't big on co-ops, and I found, just playing things you like Jeremy said, and Etherfields was one of those. It's just like a crazy trip. I really enjoy it.
It is a crazy trip.
So my number one thing, it's me, right?
Yeah.
Is it number one or number
the last thing?
Yeah, is it your number one?
I saved this one for last because this was kind of like one of the biggest things. I started a new job.
It's not your son. We know it's not your son. So
it's not my son. Well, my son was born in
not
2019, or 18, very, very into 2018. But I started a new job in 2020. I started working for GameFound, which is a pledge manager for doing pledges for crowdfunding. And that was quite the experience because I was lucky enough that was already meant to be a work from home position. And I started that job at the very beginning of March, right when all this started happening. And so I was already kind of ready to work from home. So that was really nice. But working with GameFound has been great. And honestly, just like seeing how the platform has grown over the past year has been really cool. And getting to know the team on the back end of things, like the technical side of the team that makes GameFound function, are incredibly intelligent, smart programmers and people that are just like way beyond my level. But they have adapted GameFound and turned it into a crowdfunding platform. And we launched our first project this year, or like the end of last year, which was ISS Vanguard from Awakened Realms. And they had what we thought was maybe a kind of lofty goal of 4 million. And we crushed that. We got over 4 million. For our first project, which was great. And now we have another project coming from Lucky Duck in a couple months, or actually less than a month, I think. And some more stuff that's coming after that to GameFound that I can't talk about yet. But I just want to say, like, it's just been cool to work in a different aspect of the game industry than what we normally do. I mean, as content creators, we work a lot directly with publishers, but being able to work like at this level and get to meet these publishers and like have these phone calls with them and talk them through things, like it's just been really cool getting to know a lot of people. And like I've done jobs like this outside of the game industry, and I would say like 98% of the clients that we have at GameFound have been just like the greatest people to work with. Every publisher we've talked to, even when things don't work well, everybody's been super understanding and supportive. And I think I feel like I see that a lot. Kira, you have worked in this industry as a business more than any of us. But I do feel like this might be something that's maybe a little more unique to board games. Is like we generally tend to lift each other up more often than we tear each other down. And so getting to see that firsthand was pretty great in 2020 as well.
It's been wonderful.
I think GameFound is definitely a platform too that people are wanting. They're wanting a change from Kickstarter. So I think people are just naturally excited for it too.
Yeah, it's nice to have options.
For sure.
Yeah, and we'll see how it goes in the future, but we've made a splash, and I think that's what they were trying to do. So, like, as far as I'm concerned, it was already a win.
Cool.
Kira, do you have another heartwarming story or funny llama story?
Somewhere in the middle, maybe. I don't know. So, Jeremy mentioned earlier, try to keep your mind healthy and happy. Some of us struggle with that. I'm definitely one of those people. And one of the things I do every year is garden. Food, things I grow and eat and all that fun stuff. My husband and I do that together, and we normally get started way late because schedules and being busy and not being around. But this year we were able to kind of get everything started on time. So it was all growing how it was supposed to. We were hitting all the right parts of the season for all the different things we had planted. It's just, and forgive my weeds, okay, but like I love gardening, and it really helped me to be able to, while I'm working during the day, go outside and tend to my garden, or when I'm making dinner, grab something right out of the garden and add it to what I'm cooking. And so we had so many tomatoes, we had so many peppers and green beans, and we grew some really crazy peppers, like what did I grow?
Yeah.
Reapers. Yeah,
Those
we
Carolina
made
Reapers?
salsa that I didn't think I'd actually eat. And the other fun thing is that my husband likes. So we have 2 lizards, and one of them, she doesn't come out very much. She's more of her enjoys being in her cage than being out. But Mr. Pancakes like runs around the house and stuff, like a cat or a dog, and he likes the sun, so he'll always go put himself in the windows. So when we started going outside and it was warm enough, he had to come with us. It was and he would just hang out in the garden while we're doing our work. And that was just really funny, just watching him. And it was, again, just one of those things that brings you a smile to your face. And like, I'd be sitting there working on something, and he would look up at me and I'd go over there and be like, "What's up, Pancakes? What you up to?" And he's just hanging out in the onions, waiting for me to say hi, or he'll just start eating the cilantro, all that fun stuff. So it was just a lot of fun and very healthy for me to be out there and getting sun and doing something kind of productive. And it was great. I think most of you all got some of it.
Mm-hmm. We've
Now
definitely
we know Mr. Pancakes had his mouth on it. That's awesome.
So did a lot of other things, buddy. Bugs and stuff.
All right, my last one is, I'm going to say this right now. It's kind of a silly one, but it's kind of a very serious one.
Okay.
It's a TV show, and I'm going to tell you, it's something that has affected me on more than just a TV show level. And everyone around me can tell you this because I've been annoying them being the biggest advocate for the show, and it is Ted Lasso. This show is the most uplifting thing I've ever experienced on television.
Yep.
I'd seen some people in social media talking about it ad nauseum before I started watching it. And truth be told, this is something I experienced that kind of straddled 2020 and 2021, with most of it being in 2021. But I couldn't go without saying this because it was such a great experience. It is hilarious, and it is the most positive thing that you'll watch on television. And it's not so sugary sweet that you're rolling your eyes necessarily, but it definitely has all the feels. It's really funny. And I saw someone somewhere say, when I watch an episode of Ted Lasso, it makes me want to be a better person.
Oh, 100%.
And as corny as that sounds, it legit does do that. I can't recommend this show enough. It's just a really great thing. It's on Apple TV Plus. Watch Ted Lasso.
It was, I mean, even more so than any other show. Genway just mentioned Schitt's Creek, which I mentioned earlier was great, but I knew, David, that you were going to talk about Ted Lasso, so I didn't want to really harp on it earlier, but never have I watched a show that had the effect that the main character, Ted Lasso, the effect that he has on everyone around him by just being this positive person and telling everyone, hey, like, it's okay. Like, it's all going to be okay. Like, that effect just radiated out of the TV. And, like, I just, watching that show in 2020, I just was like, it is going to be okay.
It was definitely the perfect
year. Okay.
It was the perfect year for that show. It's exactly what a lot of people have said. It's the show that 2020 needed, for sure.
Right.
But if you haven't seen it at all, go check it out. Again, at face value, it looks like a goofy, over-the-top SNL style caricature of a character. And in some ways it is, but in other ways it's very serious and it's got some really heartfelt moments. Very, very
David,
good
I'm surprised
television.
you didn't bring up a show you turned me on to. I felt it. I haven't watched this one, but the one I'm about to mention, it brought me that same kind of feeling, and that's Kipo in Age of the Wonder Beasts.
Oh, yeah.
From
Kipo.
the
on the animated front, you got to watch Kipo.
From the music, it's got the best soundtrack. of anything. I mean, it was very positive. It was very uplifting, and it was kind of one of those things when the new season came out. I was like, perfect timing, because it was just really after a lot of not fun things were happening in the world when they released it.
Yeah, also, Kipo has some just genius story arcs for some characters that you'll never expect. And this is a cartoon, folks, just so you know, but I'm a cartoon nerd. This thing has some of the best story arcs for some of the characters that are it's just awesome. I don't want to spoil it.
Not to mention one of the greatest soundtracks for a television show.
Have you watched Kipo, Ryan?
Oh, yeah, all of it.
Jeremy, you got to watch Kipo if you haven't watched any of it. It's good. It's a little kiddie for sure. It's definitely kiddie.
But wonderful.
It's very good. The message it sends and the relationships the characters build, like, I mean, it has a lot of inspiration no matter how old you are.
We have a few housekeeping things to talk about. I do want to go around the horn to see if anyone has any sort of quote unquote honorable mentions. I do want to mention one honorable mention. If I don't, the guys in my adventuring party will never let me hear the end of it. I started playing D&D last year, and it's been quite a ride. It has had some of the most fun experiences I've had. It's also had some of the most painful preparation and stuff that I didn't expect to do when you're DMing a game. So it's a little bit of mix of both, but that was another one for me that was really fun. Did anyone else have anything else to talk about?
I mean, I don't know how great of an experience this was, but I got really into like home improvement, and we built out this set here. I don't want to say it was the highlight of 2020 because it was rough. It was like 8 hours of work a day. But
it looks great.
It turned out great. I couldn't be happy with it. And now looking back at it, I'm glad that we did that. It really just took being stuck at home all day saying, all right, well, what am I going to do with myself? We finally decided to tackle some of these home renovation projects. We did that, and we did the deck up back and some other stuff around the house, some things. So yeah, it's been nice to learn those skills, which I've never really been the most crafty person. But after hanging all this drywall, by the time I got to the end, it was just awesome. Like bang, 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 done.
It feels good to build, right?
Yeah, I mean, it really you can get back and look at everything you just did. It's really satisfying experience.
That's definitely one of Jeremy's therapeutic activities for sure.
I mean, it is nice.
Yeah, when I get upset, I build something.
I usually do Legos, but
I clean a lot.
Oh, really?
The one thing I will say is I already mentioned Darwin's Journey, but I know all four of us love to be. We all have really good ideas about things, and like. We've all contributed to games in some way. We see games really, really early, and we like to put our mark on it, or we like to think we've put our mark on it. I feel like Darwin's Journey is one of those games that I kind of grasped on early, and it kind of came up with an idea, and that was those lenses they have. Like, I'm super proud of that. I know no one's going to know this beyond like us and the people who are watching tonight, but it feels good. And we've all done that. Like, I know Ryan's contributed to stuff. I know David's contributed to stuff, and it always feels good to be heard, even though we don't have the best ideas all the time. Sometimes we do have ideas. It's nice that publishers are willing to listen. They're like, oh, we didn't think of that. Let's do that and see what happens.
It is cool.
We get no kickback for that other than to be like, hey, I wanted to help this game be better.
Yeah, right, exactly. I helped.
Yeah, I helped.
Well, plus, you do have that little satisfaction of like being able to, like, not everyone can do this, but it's like, oh, here's a thing that I think would make this game great. Like, I really want little wooden discs. And now everyone gets some, right? Like, right. So it benefits everybody.
True.
Anything else, Kira? Anything else?
I wouldn't say it's a highlight. It was just a nice to find out, and that is that there was a game system we were all pretty pumped for. At Gen Con 2019, and that was Tebaru, and we were kind of like, what happened to it? We were expecting it this year, and we actually heard from those guys. And they gave us kind of a sneak peek and let us know that, yes, it's still happening. There's a lot of really cool games they couldn't talk about other than the one we saw at Gen Con. So above it, I think Zombicide was the one that they showed to everybody outside of Gen Con too. So that's not spoiling anything. But the especially in this environment that we're in now, being able to set that up and be able to play with people anywhere, we thought that was cool then. It's even cooler now, especially for me as somebody who, while I really appreciate TTS, and BGA and all Tabletopia and all that. They're great, and what they offer is wonderful. I'm clunky with them. I struggle sometimes with using the system, and having like something that's built for this purpose, but still is a board game on the table. That's so exciting. And I was really glad to hear that it's still coming. So that's me.
Yeah, that's like Kira said, we had a chance to talk with them, and they shared some stuff we can't share, and they're going to be making more announcements. Hopefully, we're going to be a part of maybe bringing some of that information out as it arrives. But they spent some time actually even developing some in-house games to demonstrate the system as well, and they gave us a little bit of look at that. So we might get some of that. I know they've posted that themselves privately. I don't know that that's widely publicly available, but it's out there. So we might get that on our channel somehow.
2020 would have been perfect for that game system now.
True. Still now, for sure. A couple other things. One thing I want to mention, and I don't even know if these guys know about it because I was just in the emails talking with Ignacy about it today, is we agreed they're going to have PortalCon next Saturday. And we're going to do a very short thing, but we're going to do a live stream where we cover the PortalCon stream live, the keynote speech. Not the whole thing, but just the keynote speech where they're going to be making some announcements. So we'll be able to discuss that a little bit while they're doing it. So we're going to be doing that on the 23rd. I'm not exactly sure what time it is, but I think it's pretty early in the morning on Saturday, the 23rd. So be sure to tune in for that.
Get on our Discord so that you can get updates from us.
Yes. Discord's the best place to interact and hear what we're shouting to the wind. And then finally, as you may have seen off the beginning of the episode, we have a new sponsor. We're proud to announce that Fun Again is sponsoring Chit Chat for all of this next season. We're really happy to work with them. We've worked with them in the past on some of our Essence streams, and they were kind enough to work with us not only to help deliver our Kickstarter, but to sponsor Chit Chat so we can keep bringing this out as frequently as we do. So thank you very much, Fun Again Games.
Well, cool. That ends episode 78 of Chit Chat. Let us know what your best experiences of 2020 were.
If there were any.
Kind of a shite show, but is what it is.
Beat Kira's llama story and you win.
That's a good idea. Maybe we'll give away something to the person that has a better
Join
picture.
our Discord and post something better than my llama.
Yes. A real picture. Don't find it on the internet because we can always image eye it or whatever it is to figure out if it's a real picture.
Make sure it's safe. Make sure it's safe for work too.
Exactly. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you on Chit Chat episode 79.
Bye.
Bye-bye.